pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome and thank you all for coming to the March 12th, 2024 meeting of the City of Sydney Council, the greatest city in America. We're going to be doing this meeting in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, which is posted there on the back wall. And we will start, first of all, with the approval of the minutes individually. Is everybody at the February 27th meeting of the council?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, Brock was not.
He was at the meeting, just not the planning session.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to call out names.
No, I'm sorry.
But anyway, does anybody want to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the council meeting on February 27th?
I'll move.
Motion by Bondegard, second by Radcliffe. Roll call, please.
Stroman,
Yes.
Buckner,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe, Bondegard.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0 to approve the council meeting February 27th. The strategic planning meeting minutes from March 6th. Do we have a motion to approve those?
I'll move.
Paul excitedly makes the motion.
I'll second.
And Bondegard with the second. Roll call, please.
Buckner,
Yes.
you have to
I
abstain.
abstain.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe, Bondegard,
Yes.
Stroman.
Yes.
All right. Motion passes 4-0 with one abstention to pass the March 6th strategic planning meeting minutes. We have anybody from the public that wants to come up and tell us something, offer us money or anything? Well,
Mike Palmer, ACE representative. I don't have money to bring this month, but I did want to let you guys know that on Monday, the 18th, from 8 to 10, we are going to be holding our open house right here in this room. So anybody that has questions on the ACE program, please come. We will try to get the answers as we can. If we don't have the answers, we will find them. All eligible residents and businesses should be receiving their selection packets from Black Hills Energy. The packet should be arriving really anytime, from mid-March to late March is the time frame, and then the next official selection period is April 4th through the 24th. So again, we would request and have the customers look at ACE, but we also want them to pick the best one for them. So one thing we just really want to stress is you need to pick, do not default. Default rates are almost always typically higher, and they need to pick one of their selections. This year, I believe there are eight companies in the campaign. So lots of choices, lots of competition. It's going to be good for the consumer, we hope.
What time on the 18th?
8 to 10.
Oh, okay.
Any questions? Fantastic.
thanks, Mike.
Yep, thank you.
Anybody else from the public want to come up and tell us anything? All right. Well then, at 5:34, we'll start the public hearing for the 1 to 6 year street improvement plan. Hank, the floor.
All right. Okay, there's a reason there's two of us. Is in January about Kyle approached me and he wanted to learn more about running the operations. And we sat down and talked, decided it was a good idea in case something happens to me or when I retire, he can take over. If something happened to me, we're not stranded with nobody knowing what to do. So I've been teaching him things, how to do things, and he's taken a great interest in it. And I think it's a great idea. That way, if it happens, we have someone that can take over. So with that being said, Kyle's put in the time, and so I approached him about doing the 1 and 6. He's done all the work. They asked me questions about it, how to do different parts of it. So with that, he's the one to put it all together and everything. So I'm going to let him present it to you guys and get some practice, and I'll turn it over to him.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Hank. Thanks for the opportunity, too.
You're welcome.
So, is this good right here? Okay. Each year, the state gives us money for street improvement projects, and in this report, we have to basically show that we know what we're going to possibly do with their money, have a plan in place, so on the next slide, state statute 392115, each municipality shall develop a long-range 6-year plan of street improvements based on needs and calculated to contribute to the orderly development of an integrated statewide system of highways, roads, and streets. So on the next slide, this is how they determine what we get. It's total population of the municipality, which is 50% of the equation. Then motor vehicle registrations other than commercial vehicles in each municipality is determined by the most recent information from the DMV. That's 30% of the equation. And then lane miles of our streets within the city limits is 20%. So on the next slide, what we are required to do is the first 50% of the money, first half of it, is free of charge. Second half, we have to match, we have to put up $1 for every $2 they give us on the second 50%. And anytime we can't match that, we forfeit it, what we can't match. If that makes sense to everybody. Okay. Next slide. So on the 1 and 6, the forms they ask for are previous. First one is the Form 11, which would be previous 1-year improvements, which for us last year would have been the engineering of Forest and Jackson Street drainage, and then that strip of 19th that we're going to do off of Forest on the north side. And then the Form 8 is, those are the projects we're going to do this year. They're first on the list to do, which Form 8 for us this year is going to be Forest Street, finishing that, and then 19th from Forest to Elm, and then the drainage project on, what is it, 14th from Illinois to Jackson. So that's what would be on those forms. And then the Form 9 would be the 6-year plan, the total projects that we think are going to be 6 years out at least. In talking with Hank, we could have a wish list 40 projects long, but the state asks that we keep it manageable, somewhat reasonable in what we think we can do. And so with the 2 projects on our Form 8 this year, or the 3 projects, were on our Form 9 last year, and everything on your Form 8 and Form 9 has to be on your Form 9, if that makes sense. But since those are going to Form 8, we added quite a few projects to the Form 9 this year, since we're getting rid of some projects that were previously on there. So next slide, please. So Form 8, construction of Forest Street, and the cost there. And then next slide, that's just showing what we're looking at up on Forest Street with the, I call it past maintenance issues that we're having on that street. You keep going. That's Forest again. And then the drainage project that we have on from Illinois to Jackson, stormwater drainage, should, you can go to the next slide too, should help alleviate a lot of excess water flow we get that has to make the corner there to go on 13th to head down to Illinois. So we're gonna try and catch a little bit earlier. Also will help with the ice jam issues that we have during the winter there for that block of the Catholic Church that doesn't see any sun on the north side. And then next slide is, this is Forest Street and 19th. So this would be just to the east of the park on the north side. Since they're gonna be doing Forest Street, we're gonna do some resurfacing there, which a lot of that is beyond maintenance issue right there, so. And then the 6-year, for the 6-year, okay, on the numbers 172, 173, and 174, those are all on the 1 year. And then from there down are the ones that we put on the 6-year plan for this year. The first 3 are all downtown street improvements. And those are just general estimates. And then the other 2, 178 is King Street between 10th and 9th Avenue. When we redid 10th Avenue a while back, they detoured all the construction traffic to King Street on 10th, like the concrete trucks and stuff, and it really buckled that street. So we've had a lot of issues trying to keep it somewhat put together. And so we thought we'd throw that one on. And then the last one is Osage Keller, basically starting at the nursing home corner and going around there, that street. We had it crack sealed a couple years ago to try, because we knew it was starting to be a problem, and we had it crack sealed in. And we got moisture last winter, and when the moisture came out of the ground, we really had issues on that street. Here's some photos I added here. So 179 is the one I'm talking about down there, bottom right-hand corner. I mean, there's a good 200 feet of just that, of the street that was crumbling. And we had it crack sealed, and then it trapped the moisture in, and then it caused what we call a blowout, where it gets hot out in the summer and the moisture comes up, and so does the road too. So like 178 and 179 are issues with the base and the asphalt underneath. And then the downtown ones are concrete streets for the most part. Hickory was overlaid though. It was a concrete street initially behind the power plant there, and they overlaid it with like a bad asphalt, cold mix millings, not proper, and it's been chip sealed over a couple times, but it's rotting from the inside out as well. So, and then the next slide, I believe, is just the map showing you kind of where the projects are at, and that's pretty much all I have. Any questions I can answer, I'll gladly try.
Did an excellent job explaining all that to us.
Did I? Good. I rehearsed it. So,
Does anybody have any questions? Any questions from the public? Did such a good job, not one question.
perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kyle. Thanks. And with that, we will end the public meeting at 5:44. And then look for a motion to approve the 1 and 6 year street improvement plan. Mr. Stroman with the motion. Second. Second by Radcliffe. Roll call, please.
Sherman?
Yes.
Radcliffe? Bonnegar?
Yes.
Stroman?
Yes.
Buckner?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. First ever 1 and 6 plan, 1 and 6 year street plan approved and ready to go. Onto your belt.
Got one done.
All right, ACE funds request for the dog park action as applicable.
How many more to catch up with you, Hank?
Okay.
Like 30. About 30. Yeah, this was a conversation here a couple weeks ago too, and I wanted to bring this back to you. The group in there is a member of the group here tonight too, to speak to it. Are wanting to apply for grants through a few different sources. Those grants require matches. And as I mentioned earlier, we may be coming back and asking for a little bit of ACE funds to help them get that off the ground. And that's what they're wanting to do now. They've researched at least 3 different sources. One is the Nebraska Community Foundation Sydney Donor Advised Fund. The other one is the Sydney and Greater Area Fund. And the other one is through Game and Park. But all those grants will require a match, so that's why they're coming to you tonight to ask if the city council would be willing to, be willing to put some money towards that. We are asking for $20,000. We have about probably, $85,000. I did write it down, $85,000 in that account now. These are great projects that we've been done. It's unfortunate that we did not win for the Camp Lookout. Oglala, I believe, defeated us. Is that right, Lori? In a heavy fought battle, I believe Ogallala's Park beat out our Camp Lookout projects. So there will be no three-peat. But honestly, on the bright side of that, and we talked about this in staff meeting too, the bright side of that is I know Mike got calls from them thanking us for egging that competition on so much, because what a great publicity for ACE to have 2 cities with 2 fantastic projects voting so heavily and bringing so much awareness to what they do and how they give back to the communities. So I'm sure that's going to probably boost the people that check the ACE box when they do their make their choice. So they're very pleased with how that went. But anyway, that's where the money comes from. And as you know, we've given money to the ball field, lights on ball field 4 as well before that. Both those were, and then the park project that the girls did for the Legion Park Playground. Both of those did win awards, and darn it, we tried like heck to get this one. I know Lori was emailing and texting and Facebooking and every other kind of app that everybody that she could probably constantly get to vote. But their park was kind of nice. So, they were deserving as well, I guess. But I did want the 3-peat as well. So anyway, what they're wanting to know is if the council would be okay with us allocating some of those funds to this project now. I do want to say that the money would not leave the account until, we would need it to match the grants. So we would know that we were moving forward. If nothing happens and the granting sources say, no, we don't really want to contribute to this, then and it doesn't go anywhere, we would probably not need to use these funds. They remain in our account until we spend them, right? So they are applying for also their own 501c, so that this project can run independently of the city, much like the park project did. And in that case, then we would probably transfer the money once we know that they have the grant funds secured. So, and then Kim, did you want to say anything? Something to say about the dog park?
I'm Kim McKay. I do live outside the city limits, but I think the dog park would be an excellent thing for Sydney. I would certainly come in and use it. My dog has a lot of energy, and he's my only dog. He would love to come and socialize. I take him to the dog boarding east of Sydney every 2 or 3 months, and he loves to play with the other dogs. I think it'd be good for the dogs in Sydney. Might even alleviate some of the dogs running at large, because they're all seem to be in their little backyards. It'd be good for them to get out and run and play and socialize. I think it'd be good for the citizens of Sydney to meet new people while they're out there. And I even thought it'd be a good selling point for Sydney, for travelers going by Sydney, if we could somehow let people know that we have a dog park, because a lot of people travel with their dogs. They could come in, let their dogs run and get exercise. And possibly do some shopping and stuff in Sydney. So that might be something economically feasible for us. I guess that's about it. And I worked at OHD for 5 years. I think bringing some of those clients out to watch the dogs, even bringing out some of our retirees, just sit, if we had some shaded areas, they could sit and watch, be some fun things for them to do and watch. And then you also can have activities around a dog park, like dog adoptions, or, there could be a lot of things that we could maybe figure out there for some community building and stuff like that. So that's my opinion. Any questions? Okay,
We're really easy to get along with tonight. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Dave, this is just a request for matching funds to go seek
To allocate
grant monies, right?
allocate that amount
Yeah.
in our current ACE pot of money towards this, so it doesn't get used for something else until we can find out if those grants are going to roll in. She brings up a good point, though. I don't know how many times I go up by the interstate and I don't see people with their dogs out in like that little grassy area by McDonald's and all the time. Be a good way to get those people into town. Never thought of it as an economic driver, but it probably would be.
And so how much of the ACE funds are we getting all together?
Well, Mike had mentioned that in the last meeting, we had received, I think it was 29,000 something, yeah. And we had some in there still. We've got currently about a little over 80. And I'm sure we'll. So we would still have a little bit if some fantabulous, park or public project came forward, we would not be completely exhausted.
And it relies on them getting the funds.
What's that?
It relies on them.
Yeah, we would want it. I mean, they want to match, and of course you want to match for your money too, so,
And the request is for how much again?
Asking for 20,000. The total cost, as we talked about in the last meeting, is going to be somewhere around 80. So that would be, if they can match that, that would get them halfway there with other grants, right? Then they would just need to come up with the other 40-some thousand, and they'd be on their way.
So this would be for $20,000 with them matching the funds if the project moves forward.
Yep.
We done grilling these poor folks? All right. So you are looking for a motion for our approval
Yes.
to move forward with matching funds if they're necessary
Right.
to complete the project.
Yes.
Do we have such a motion?
I'd move.
Motion by Stroman,
I'll second.
second by Bondegaard. Roll call, please.
Radcliffe? Bondegaard?
Yes.
Stroman?
Yes.
Buckner?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes. Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
5-0.
Thank you for coming.
Says here, Kagan and Dean are going to talk to us about an equipment lease.
Joe?
Good evening, Council.
Joe doesn't
Dean
really
Sterling,
answer.
Solid Waste Superintendent. Tonight I'm here seeking council's decision on how to move forward of purchasing a new wheel loader. In the current fiscal year 2024, we budgeted $116,000 for a new roll-off truck, leaving a balance of $40,000 in our equipment reserve account. In the 5-year plan, we have put our, in the solid waste plan 5-year, we have our 936 loader, which is a 1984, in the 5-year plan to replace. Unfortunately, our 2000 wheel loader has some maintenance issues. So After inspecting it, it was something that we couldn't fix, so I contacted CAT. They come down, looked at it, found some other issues going on with it. They come back with a quote of $40,000 to fix. As old as it is and as many hours as on it, I contacted them and got some prices on some loaders, and found out what ours would be worth. And it come back between 15 to 20,000 as trade-in. At that point, I thought I'd bring it to you guys before we stick $40,000 into something that's only worth 20. So tonight, we're bringing up some options. Like option one is to purchase a 621 from Titan Machinery for $178, lease to own for $199, $169, or repair the 924. So I'm open to a discussion or any questions that you might have.
If I may, Mr. Mayor. Dean, I think maybe it's important to also mention that Dean did receive several different quotes from all the dealers in the area, and we aren't just saying we only talked to this person. This was just the best price. There were 3 or 4 people that we reached out to.
So I did contact CAT, John Deere, and Titan Machinery.
Yeah.
And like I said, it ranged from 15 to 20 for trade-in. And then Titan Machinery was the cheapest on the loader.
And so if we did the lease, you said the lease was 4 years?
That was, yes, it was a four-year lease on that.
And then that was a little bit more than just buying it outright?
Yeah, it was like, with interest, was like $199.
Is there an advantage to, because if we lease it 3 years down the road and something happens to it, they pay the maintenance on that, is that correct?
Yeah, there's a 3-year, 30,000 warranty on it. So after say a 4-year lease, on leasing, after 4 years, you have 3 options. You either walk away, buy it, or lease a new one. Where if you purchase it, it's yours for, however long. I don't think we need to trade them in every 4 to 5 years. I think 10 years would be better. That's why I think maybe the purchase might be a better way to go, and save that extra money on interest if we could, come up with the finance part of it.
You have the money in your account to be able to buy it out, right?
It would be coming out of the landfill
Landfill.
or the checking account.
Yeah, so right now it would come out of the landfill checking account, and there is sufficient funds to purchase at a one-time buy. So,
And I believe there was something in there about how financially stable the landfill is, if I'm not correct.
and that is worth noting that in the past few years, Dean has done a great job at creating a net profit for the landfill. So this year's trend is also showing signs of that. Obviously, if we make a one-time purchase of $178,000, it obviously will affect the bottom line for him. But I think financially, we're in a good position to where we could purchase it on a one-time shot.
Is there any grant money out there anywhere that we could utilize for something like this?
I'm not aware of anything for that kind
Yeah.
of. I wish, wouldn't that be great?
I'm not that aware of,
Is there-
this 178, I did, contact Titan Machinery, and that list price on that loader was $255, and they're giving a government discount is $85,000. So that's why it brought it down to 178. But the list cost was $255, but Titan Machinery gives a government rate, 85,000 discount.
Do you mind if I say something? Oh, go ahead.
Would it suddenly be worth $55,000 or $60,000?
Nope.
No.
It's just gonna go down every year from here on out.
But the people who are allowing the trade-in recognize that there's something wrong with it, and that's why it's.
They know what's wrong with it. I told them, being honest with them, and they're taking it as is.
I get your point. So if it was in better working condition, it might be worth 30 or 40 trade-in rather than 15 or 20. It could be.
Burke, to add to that, and I know Dean can probably talk a little bit more on it, if we go down this path of potentially rebuilding a motor, that motor's kind of specific towards that machine, and the block is in supply issues with age and type of of that block within that engine. So, yes, we can apply the money to it, but the availability behind that block is kind of up in the air.
It's a Perkins motor, which is made overseas, and there's only one engine block out there. They have it in gearing right now, waiting just to what we decide, but they can turn it back in. We won't be charged for it, and they have another customer actually waiting. So that's the downfall of that engine.
What's the downtime been on that? Like, are guys not able to complete work because we had that machine down for a specific period of time, or?
As for us to fix it?
Yeah, well, yeah, or just it breaking down and not being operational.
Well, so it's got 19,603 hours, and when Cat come down and looked at it, we lost the injection pump, or the injection pump's leaking fuel. And so when they come down and inspect it, we have some other leaks going on, and so they did some more tests and found out we're gonna have to rebuild the engine, because they had asked me if we've done anything to it in 19,000 hours, and I'm like, no, we haven't. And they said, you're lucky. So now you're due. Our 936, it had 9,000 hours on it, and we rebuilt the motor in it. It's got 16,000 hours on it too. And both of those loaders are done with, used for snow removal. Hank broke down 2 years ago and used our 936 for the blower to put on. So, it's sort of, I don't know how long that one's gonna last neither, because it's older, but
30 years.
yes,
In the
Yep.
5-year plan still.
in a
yeah.
5-year plan, yes.
Mr. Mayor, do you mind? I just think, I guess I just wanted to say, and it's up to the council, whatever route they want to take, but we've not had to do this very much. Since we started our equipment reserve, I don't think we've seen a time when somebody's had to come and ask for something that was outside of that. So we've been very good, I think, across the board. The departments have been at planning and putting together these 5-year plans so that this doesn't happen. But as Dean said, we can't control everything, and these things happen. I also want to say that whatever the council chooses, I think it's interesting to note that choice one is even an option. I think that hasn't always been the case, or the landfill's barely getting by and doesn't have hardly anything in the bank. But as you heard from the auditors when they were here earlier, that we've been very responsible and have built up that reserve. And so I just think it's something of positive note that we even have this as an option where we may have not had that option one before. So I'm pleased that exists, and I just want to point that out.
Hank?
I just want to say one thing, you guys want to kind of consider, if they were to replace the engine with all those hours, you might have a new engine, but you got all those hours on your transmission, your transfer case, your bearings, your wheels, everything else still has all that hours on it. That fixed, next week one of these break and that break. I just want you to kind of put that into consideration. I'm not trying to give them a rah-rah thing, but that's the problem we have. We've had that before with us in years past. You fix something and all of a sudden now this breaks down, the transmission goes out. You fix that, transfer case goes out. So just something, to consider, hydraulics. It's all got all those hours on it, so.
Always appreciate your input, Hank. Even when the city attorney's not in the room.
Especially now.
That, also is an option. You just don't get the warranties with it. And I kind of resort back to the way the vehicle market is today, that,
Those are expensive too.
you can go buy a new used pickup for what, 72,000. You can buy a brand new one for 85,000. It's kind of the same thing when we were looking at the loader market, but it's what is the benefit to buying a used when we know we can purchase for a little bit more and get the warranties behind it, and also still be able to generate that governmental decrease on a new piece of equipment.
How long would this take to get in?
It's actually sitting in Scotts Bluff. We signed a purchase agreement with them, but it was, if you guys don't approve it, it just eliminates it. We don't get stuck with it, but it's, ready to go.
And we have cash on hand.
Yes.
We could have it tomorrow.
Good.
That's like a lot sooner than some of the stuff we bought.
Yeah.
This is 2 years
Yeah.
out.
Well, and that's the other thing to add to this, in working with Titan, is that that piece of equipment is readily available, whereas what John Deere was.
Yeah, John Deere
6
and
months.
Cat was probably anywhere from 6 to 8 months out. And eventually, once Titan gets going, they, out here, they will, once they get their license, they will be able to do maintenance on it out here, so we won't have to haul it to Scotts Bluff. It's just they're working on their license here, but they're starting to sell the construction equipment, so eventually we could take it out here and not have to take it to Scotts Bluff. But Cat and John Deere are both in Scotts Bluff too, so.
Anybody else?
I don't like putting Band-Aids on things if, you
No,
know, I
I-
mean, if it's just gonna break down in another 3 years and we're gonna continue to roll this over, it's just gonna, and then you're looking at downtime, which is gonna cost them, you know, employees sitting around doing nothing. It makes
That-
sense to me to,
And how much life is on the other one?
yeah.
Well, if there are no more questions, do we have a motion to support the equipment purchase of a solid waste vehicle?
I move.
Motion by Bondegard.
Are you motioning for
For the
option
purchase
one?
of it.
Yes. I'm sorry, I said purchase of the lease and the fixing has been presented as not that.
These monies are coming out of the, or coming out of.
Landfill?
Yes.
So again, we have a motion by Bondegard to
For
purchase.
option one.
For option one.
Option one.
Which is
Very
purchasing,
specific.
yeah.
And then Mr. Radcliffe has seconded the motion, so if we could have a roll call, please.
Bondegard,
Yes.
Stroman,
Yes.
Buckner,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Get up early and go get that thing tomorrow. Or they change their mind.
Happy to know we're not gonna renege.
All right, next up,
Joe give you an escort.
Hagan is going to explain to everybody how TIF works and what advantages the city is getting from it.
Okay, so with TIF, this is pursuant with Nebraska State Statute 1821-17.02, that we submit an annual report to on our TIF projects, whereas you are a legal taxing jurisdiction within Cheyenne County. Statute 1821-17.02 requires us to submit this before May 1st. You guys convene as the CDA as well, to be noted. But right now, we're sitting on 8 TIF projects currently that are from years past. A couple of those will end up maturing within the 2024 year, but it won't be in fiscal year 24. So it'll carry over. But I take that back. We do have one maturing in 24 fiscal year, but 2 will be in year 24, but for the 25th fiscal year. We did have one that ended last year that did mature. We will still receive some property tax money on that we'll still have to pay out in the next fiscal year, but that will pertain to this year as property taxes are a year off. TIF is just an opportunity for us to create housing programs for people to develop within the city. The one that we will have coming up is the R. Perry development. That will have a TIF against it as well, that ends up getting paid back to that developer from the property tax money, so.
That'll be the first new one we've added in a
Yeah.
long time. So.
Yeah.
Is there any downside to the local taxpayer?
No.
Just wanted to make sure people knew that they're getting hosed on it.
You better say it loud, Kagan.
Yes, no downside to the taxpayer within city.
All right. Well, you've done an excellent job of presenting your TIF report. So we just need to approve that by a motion if anybody's interested?
You don't have to. This is just
What'd I do?
informational.
We actually told me that prior to the meeting, both of you, separate occasions. And,
Report, though, I thought it was very well.
and I still almost got somebody to fall for it. All right, fine. Thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
And you want to just stand right there. Don't go anywhere, because you are about ready to tell us about our budget for February.
So February, tough month. Overall, we did see some things decrease across the board. Again, a lot of that just comes from the time of year. We'll see this start to bounce back within the general fund breakdown. Property tax, again, that's going to fluctuate as your citizens pay their property taxes. So we were down, and then February of '22, I know we talked about this last month, having the missing funds in property tax. Those are accounted for moving forward into February. That's why you'll see that February '22 was much higher than the others. Looking at sales and occupation tax, again, that's down 10K. Or I'm sorry, up 10K on this one. That's mainly going to come from the parks and stormwater taxes. Our sales tax did see a slight drop year over year. Fees for service up 14K from last year. That growth is from cemetery, golf liquor sales, and then building permits. State and federal county, that was up 3.3K from last year. This is going to be due to transportation's bus state reimbursements. Franchise admin fees, they were down 14,000 from LY. This payment is based off of the operational revenue that we get from proprietary funds. And then on that other portion, again, down 6K to LY. That's, again, coming from the 13th Street building, or 13th Avenue building, but all other areas were positive within this. And like I said last time, that the 13th Avenue building is going to hurt the revenue side of this for coming months. So nothing new there. Moving into the proprietary funds, again, like I said, February, tough month, but this is mainly due to franchise fees. Obviously, those franchise fees help pay for the general fund, which you see driving the positivity behind that with a one-time payment for fiscal year of $687,821. Jumping down, Street did a good job this past month, and they've done a phenomenal job here in the wintertime at managing the finances and keeping within those budget tracks to keeping costs down and preparing for the projects that they have coming this summer. So they've done a wonderful job there. Electric, down on the franchise fee. I mean, we can go down the line. It's mainly leading down to franchise fees. The one thing that I would like to note here, year to date, everybody across the board is profitable. So the finances are looking good. We're on target to have a good year as long as everything continues to move forward the way it is now.
You could add a couple quick things. As far as the franchise fees, I did want to put, Kagan's right, those are an annual payment. We wait until the auditors get done with their work, and then we take, just like any other utility, Allo or Spectrum, anybody else in town, 5% of the revenues of that fiscal year and that's what they pay in their franchise fee. So it is a once a year hit that takes everybody down when it happens. It's, you know, this is not something that's unnew, but I just wanted to point that out. And then also, wanted to point out on the sales tax, I know Kagan had mentioned that we're a little bit down percentage-wise as what we were for February of 2023, but I wanted to point out that in February of 2023, we had budgeted $2,187,000, and we were at 11% then. In 2022, we budgeted the same thing, and we were at 10% there. This year, current fiscal year budget, we beefed that up because we knew we were beating it every year to $2,597,000, and we are still only at 9%. So sales tax is rolling in at a fairly increased amount. And if you look at the actual dollar amount wise, it's the highest we've had in all 4 years. It's at $244,000 as compared to $233, $213, $187. So you can really see how the sales tax is been steadily increasing over the years. So I just thought that was kind of cool. Okay. Sorry to interrupt your report.
No, good points, good points.
It's always good to know that people are buying more and more stuff in Sydney every year.
Yes.
Seems like a very positive sign.
Increased spending in the city. It's a good thing.
I like that. Anything else you want to throw in there?
No, I'm good unless you guys have any questions.
Well, I'm happy. So now this one, we do need a motion for, if somebody does want to do that.
I'll move.
Paul makes a motion to approve the budget reports for February. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bondegaard. Roll call, please.
Stroman,
Yes.
Buckner,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe, Bondegaard.
Yes.
All right, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Kagan. Now, we have the claims. And we're still, we're looking for a ruling if Bondegaard's world's fastest claims still
Mine was faster.
have the record.
Yes, I do believe so.
That's fine. Not heard at all. But yeah, I went through them very diligently and didn't see any issues. So, does anybody want to make a motion to approve the February claims?
I'll move.
Motion by Bondegaard, or second by Radcliffe. Roll call, please.
Buckner,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe, Bondegaard,
Yes.
Stroman.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0, and we are nearing the end.
Look at us go.
David, take it away.
I only had one thing this time. I wanted to, for those of you who haven't had a chance to meet her yet, I wanted to introduce Brandy Stone. She is the city's new Economic Development Director. If you haven't read her bio out there on our website or anywhere else, Brandy comes to us, or is originally from the Potter Dix area, graduating from Potter High in 2010. After attending college for a couple of years, she joined the Army in 2013, serving as active duty for 7 years before transitioning to an Army Reserve role and eventually earning her bachelor's degree from the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Brandy holds degrees in emergency management, strategic communication, intelligent operations studies, and project management. Since Brandy left her role with the Army, she has been working as contract labor for them on a number of large projects, with the most recent one ending and her transitioning into her new career as an Economic Development Director for the City of Sydney. Did I forget something? I'm sure I didn't do you justice, but. Does anybody have any questions for?
You already spoke to me, right?
I believe.
We gave her a
last
lot of work
Wednesday
at the last
we told
meeting.
her that we would be requiring a speech this evening.
Introductory.
You want me to speak?
We would absolutely love that. Let us see what we're in for here.
About as close as it gets to speaking in front of generals. So I come from a strong community of camaraderie and unity, and I'm really hoping to bring that to Sydney with not just the community, but our business owners as well, since that's my job now. I'm gonna see what they need, and that's gonna form my initiatives now, because I can't come into town and already have initiatives created for business owners that have been here. So that's how I'm going to form them after I talk with all of them, and that's gonna take a long time. So that's where I'm headed. He spoke the rest of it, like he got my whole background. There
I'm
you go.
sorry. I took your speech
Does anyone have any
away from you.
questions for me? Except you, because you overpromised when I didn't promise that.
I have been known to make promises for other people, and I appreciate you pointing that out.
You called me out, I'm calling you out.
It's only fair. No, I greatly appreciate, as David and you have said, you've got a good background, a good head on your shoulders, and looking forward to working with the community to continue to help us grow. So I've got no complaints or further questions.
You know how to find me.
Thank you. Welcome.
That's all I
So
had.
we'll go to Lori.
And actually, I do. I want to thank everybody who voted on Facebook for the Camp Lookout Project of the Year that was sponsored by Ace Energy. Ogallala gave us a run for our money, and Michael and I worked really hard to get those votes, but we ended up defeated in the final hours. It was 1,891 votes for Sydney to 2,006 votes for Ogallala. So I want to congratulate Ogallala on their win, and I encourage everyone to vote in the upcoming election because your vote matters. And on another note, I want to thank Michael Palmer for his 26 years of service to the city, and I want to wish him good luck on his new adventure.
Thank you.
I'm going to miss you.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Fantastic. For the first time, Jay Leaf is going to have a comment.
I am not.
Again, promises.
The wait goes on.
Chief? Hank?
Oh, of course. I'd like to thank Mike for serving the city for as long as he did, and hopefully his new endeavor works out good. I also want to thank Kyle for taking interest in the operations of the deal, and so this way he can learn stuff. He won't be like me, like when I took over, here's your stuff. He's gonna have an idea how to do things and how to run things, and I appreciate his interest in it. And that's about it.
Fantastic.
I'm good.
Autumn? Megan?
YouTube was a little rough.
Yeah?
Our ratings are down?
12 views. Seven are on right now with us, 12 of them total, so.
12 got on, and 5 were like, I'll have supper.
Tipped a little bit from the 20, so.
We're gonna-
Short agenda.
We're gonna spend the next 2 weeks putting together a real exciting April for everybody.
I think
There you go,
22 or
overpromising
23
again.
was the peak that I've seen, off the top of my head, so.
Dean?
Nope.
Randy, I know you want to say one more thing.
I got nothing.
Mike?
This is my last meeting, so I do have a couple things. We received 2 generators yesterday, so they are sitting in our shop. Super excited about that. I was beginning to wonder if they existed, to be honest with you. So we got those unloaded. They're sitting in our shop, ready to be hooked up. The building, we had some people here 2 weeks ago, last week, 2 weeks ago, taking some ground grids and seeing where all the ground grid is in there. I would expect to see some sort of movement out there in the next couple weeks, is what they're telling us. Now, they've been saying that for a year or two, so we'll see where that all ends up. But I think that project is finally starting to have some momentum, and that's a good thing for the citizens of Sydney. Streetlights, David, he pinged me the other day. The only thing we're waiting on right now is black banding, so we can band the arms to the poles, and we probably want to use black so it kind of matches the pole. I would assume we want it to look nice, so we just got to get that. After that, we can get the banner arms up. And that should be it, and you can bug Greg on that once they come in, so. Outside of that, I just want to thank everyone. It's been a pleasure. The last 26 years have been good, so thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to introduce your interim?
And Greg Jenkins will be taking over in the interim, so, like I said, he's the number, I can give you his number.
Brad hasn't given his yet, so.
If you have any complaints, street lights or anything like that, Greg would be the guy to call.
Fantastic. All right. Brandon?
I just want to tell Palmer, thanks for all your service you did for Sydney and stuff, and he's gonna miss you here. And on a somber note, I want to offer condolences to the family in Sydney that lost their little boy, and prayers out to them.
Mike, yeah, once again, thanks for all your service. Hope your new endeavor goes well. We're gonna miss you here. I want to say congratulations to both the Streeter basketball teams. They both had great years.
yes.
Made it all the way to the state championship game. The other one didn't quite get there, but both had great years, so. That's all I got.
Paul?
Mike, congratulations, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here for as long as you were. Joe and everybody else, watch out this weekend. St. Patrick's Day on Sunday. Keep your drinking to a minimum.
Responsible.
But if you're gonna do it, buy it from, no, I'm just kidding.
I know a place. I was going to congratulate the basketball teams as well. They did a fantastic job, and that's about all.
Brock?
Same, Mike, appreciate you, man. I didn't get to work with you long, but from what everybody is saying and your character, we're gonna miss you. And the same thing, just congratulations to the girls' basketball team. First time in 40 years, second place, as well as the boys' basketball team, and just the Sydney sports in general this year, so.
Well, again, Mike, sorry to see you go. Definitely gonna leave a hole in the city for certain. Been here a long time and done a lot of good work. Glad you're staying in Sydney.
Appreciate that. Just so you know, you're gonna see my ugly face around here every once in a while anyways.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Maybe some public comments. You can come in and keep bringing us money from other endeavors is perfectly fine as well. But yeah, as somebody may have alluded to, my phone number is what is it? 249-2321. You can please call me anytime. I have had several really good conversations with people around town, asking questions, wanting to know some of the things that we're doing and giving us their input. So I always appreciate when people call me at 249-2321 to tell me whatever it is they need. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's not one of my favorite things to do, but it's part of the gig, and everybody gets pointed in the right direction if nothing else. But again, one of the things that I get asked quite a bit is what I like about my job, and I constantly say the people. I enjoy just walking around town, talking to people in Sydney. We talked about the sales tax. I've talked to new business owners, what they want to do, what their goals are in a city that's just continuing to exceed expectations. I wrote down something from the Saga meeting. I think Wendell's quote was something about Sydney's the envy of a lot of cities around, and we're just getting started with what we're capable of. So the expectations are set for Brandy, and we're looking forward to her continuing on. But again, just happy to do what I do, and we will end this meeting at 6:00.